What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing wonderful. This video is going to be different than any of the videos that I've done so far because we're going to be talking about a very controversial topic. Now, most of the videos I've put out, as you probably know, have been focused mainly on like the coronavirus, the Great Reset, the New World Order, Agenda 21, and everything that's going on right now. And this is going to kind of touch on that maybe in some ways, but we'll get there. Now, I've had several new subscribers over the past few months, and I'll be honest with you, this video may make some of you want to unsub or get angry or leave hateful comments or whatnot. I hope that you don't. But of course, that'll be your decision. However, let me just say this, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, or I'm not being ugly or egotistical or anything like that. We're living in a time where we are shunned for saying do your own research, or we're put down for looking into things on our own and coming to our own conclusions, finding the truth for ourselves and not just trusting what we're told. But yet that's what they want us to do. They want us to just blindly trust everything that they're telling us. Like, take coronavirus, for example. If COVID's taught us anything, number one, it's taught us that these people will lie to us. They do not care about us. They don't care about your family. They don't care that you're hungry or your kids are hungry, or maybe you're about to lose your house or your car, or you've lost your job, or you're standing in a bread line. They don't care about these things anymore. Okay, they have basically just, went all in to achieve what they want, and that is the New World Order. So, my point is that we know that these people will lie to us, these institutions, these so-called experts. That's all we're hearing is trust the science, listen to what the experts say, do what the authorities tell you to do, and don't look into anything for yourself. Don't come to your own conclusions or search for the truth on your own. Just trust what you're being told. Well, I say that we don't need to do that anymore. That is what's got us into this situation, is because we have blindly trusted those around us. We've blindly trusted the experts, the authorities, those that think they're above us, okay? And while I will say that, no, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, a physicist, an astrophysicist, I'm not an expert, by society's standards, but that doesn't mean that I can't know things. That doesn't mean that I can't come to an informed decision or, understand what I'm doing or the choices that I'm making. It doesn't mean I can't research things on my own. Doesn't mean I can't be wrong either. But I'm just saying that, I'm just sick to death of this idea that, you have to have a degree. You have to have certain accolades, or you got to have certain initials at the end of your name, or a piece of paper that says that you're worthy, that you're smart enough, intelligent enough. No, no, I'm done with that. I don't care what anybody thinks or anybody says. So all I'm asking you to do is not to be that. Okay, don't be that person. All right. Look at this quote right here by Albert Einstein, which is actually ironic when it comes to what I'm wanting to talk to you about today. You'll figure that out eventually on your own, why I'm saying that. But it says, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance, and that is the truth. Unfortunately, we see way too much of that these days. Okay, you can bring up the wildest idea and people will automatically blow you off and call you a crazy tinfoil hat wearing nutter conspiracy theorist without taking 2 seconds to even just hear what you have to say, much less go and explore and research and try to find out if there's any merit to what you're saying at all. This, okay, is the prime example of indoctrination and programming. We've all been through it. All right? So please don't be that person. And if you are that person, maybe this isn't the channel for you. You know, maybe this isn't where you want to hang out, or maybe you don't want to hear what I have to say. So all I'm saying is, give me a chance. Let me show you some things. Let me just show you the things that I've seen in the past. Let me explain to you how I got to where I am. Hear me out. I'll show you what I have to show you, and then you can go and do the research for yourself. Okay, I'm not asking you to just blindly believe me or trust what I'm saying. I'm asking you to please look into it for yourself, because if I'm right and this is true, this would literally implode the institutions, the authorities that have been above us and have been oppressing us this whole entire time. This is a discussion about a lie bigger than coronavirus, bigger than anything else that you can think of. In my opinion, this is bigger than all of that put together, because this rests on the fundamental idea of our reality, okay, of what our entire existence, you know, is based on. So anyways, we're going to get into it. So just hear me out, hear what I have to say. Take the time to hear me, and then do your own investigation before you condemn what I have to say, okay? Because like I said, if this is true, this could very well be the thing that brings it all crashing down. All of the oppression, all of these lies that they're telling us. I mean, come on, they've got chains around us right now, and it's only that they're only pulling it tighter. You know what I'm saying? With all these passports, you know what I'm talking about, and all this other stuff that they're trying to do. So let's get into it, and I hope that you'll stick with me, but I guess we'll see. Here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take you on a trip down memory lane. You'll remember, those of you who've been on my channel from the beginning, you'll remember that I got my channel, basically got started from an interview on Israeli News Live with Deborah Tavares about some documents and stuff that she was basically going over for the audience. From the Rockefeller Foundation, NASA, a bunch of different documents. One of those documents is this one right here, the NASA document. Okay, and I had told you way back in the beginning of coronavirus and the beginning of my channel, basically, that I would eventually go over this document at some point. I was going to do a video on it. I'm not going to do that today because this is about something else, but NASA does play a part in this. So I came across this document about somewhere around 14 years ago or so. It's been a long time. And this document is basically a PowerPoint presentation that was put together by Dennis Bushnell, the chief scientist at the time of NASA Langley, right? Now, the thing about this document that's interesting is what it talks about. It's basically a warfare strategy document, future strategic warfare. It came out around 2001, somewhere in that time frame. But the thing is that it talks about, like, attacking citizens, American citizens. See right here? I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of small. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. I'm only going to spend just a second on this part. But you can see right here some of the stuff it talks about in it. Exploit CNN syndrome. Like, that's like using mass media and stuff like that with propaganda and everything else to exploit us, American citizens. Right here, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. That is what I just said, using propaganda, different things like that. But also, I want you to think about something when you read that. Capture and torture Americans in living color on prime time. That means on TV. Think about George Floyd. That is what it's talking about. It's capturing your attention and torturing you basically with the violence, the hatred, the racism, all these different things that they've engineered to happen in society to create division between us so we're all fighting each other. Okay, but it talks about how, right here, it talks about how humans are increasingly critical human limitations and downsides. We're large, heavy, tender, we're slow physically and mentally. It goes on further in the document, basically saying we're like useless eaters, we're just taking up space. Right here, humans have rapidly decreasing to negative value added. In other words, we're wasting space. The value, we do not have any, we're not adding any value into society. We've went into the negative. And if I'm being completely honest, yeah, part of that is true. Okay, we can look around us, we can be honest and say that, yeah, part of that is true. A lot of this is true. However, there's a good majority of the population, okay, that isn't like this. There are a lot of us that work our freaking asses off, and we do a lot. And if it wasn't for us, for the ones who do work and do carry our weight and take care of our families and our homes, and we just want to live and be left alone, then what would they do? You know, pretty soon they're going to have, right here it tells you, automatic robot everything. These are key future technologies. They're saying by 2050, 85% of all jobs across the world are going to be automated. What do you think is going to happen to all the rest of us when that time comes, if they haven't already depopulated us down to the 500 million that they want? And they state that on the Georgia Guidestones. They talk about depopulation in a lot of the different documents and stuff that they have. So anyways, they go on to talk about different weapons. Look, microdust weaponry. It goes on to talk about smart dust. You can kind of pause it and look over some of these if you want to. This, of course, will be linked in the description for you to go in and read it for yourself. Yes, I am going to go over this document eventually, but for this video, this is going to be about something different. But I just wanted you to have an idea about what is in this document. So when I came across this document all those years ago, that was the first thing that really got me, that was the first thing that made me realize that these institutions, these people that are parading around as American heroes, and, you know, these what is the word for them? Heroes is a good word, but like basically the authorities in this nation, the ones we look up to, the doctors, the scientists, the teachers, you know, all these, but mainly like people in these kind of companies, the ones that are high up, okay, parading themselves around as the heroes. Why are they writing a document talking about all this kind of stuff on American citizens? It flat out says right here, Americans, okay? Americans. It talks about CONUS, all right, the citizens of CONUS, stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, I'll let you look that up. But anyways, my point is that, so that was how, that was kind of my first, you know, inkling that something wasn't right, like with our government, with these institutions and stuff that we look up to. Now, there was a question that came across my mind, but it wasn't about this document, but it wasn't until a few months ago. So right after I uploaded my last video, a few months ago, okay, I decided that I was going to go ahead and record a video going over this document for you like I told you I would. And so I pulled the document up and I was going back over it, as I have a million times over the years. And all of a sudden, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know why I never thought about it before or never noticed it in this document before, but why NASA? Why is NASA specifically putting out a document like this? Yes, I know they're a part of the government. They're an arm of the intelligence community. I know that now. I didn't know that for a long time, but I know that now. But the question just went through my mind, why NASA? Aren't they supposed to be dedicated to space exploration? There's nothing in this document that I could find about space exploration. It's not mentioned at all. Not that I could find. If somebody else comes across something in it, you let me know. But I didn't find anything, okay? And I just thought that was really odd. Now, this is the thing that's even more odd than that. Almost right in the moment that I had that thought cross my mind, I got a Twitter notification on my phone. Somebody I follow posted something on Twitter, and I pulled it up. And I looked at the post, and when I went back, like I hit my back button, I don't remember if it was on my like news feed thing or if it was on that person's page. I can't remember exactly because it's been a few months ago. But there was a meme, and the meme was about the moon landing being a hoax. Had the NASA logo and all that on it. At the same moment that I'm asking myself this question, why NASA, that meme is on there. And I'm like, what are the odds that that would happen? And that was when I realized I had never looked into the moon landing. Okay, I'd never researched that. I mean, everybody's heard about the moon landing being a hoax. In fact, there was a study that was done here recently that showed that the majority of Americans don't believe that the moon landing ever happened. Now, I'm going to go ahead and be straight with you. I don't believe it happened. I believe it was 100 million, billion, trillion, zillion% faked. I think they lied to us, and I think that there are many reasons why they lied to us about it, but I think that one of the main reasons that they lied about it is something bigger than most people can accept. And that's where the controversy comes in. That's where the controversial topic begins. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to have to ask you to put aside everything that you think you know about the world that you live in, okay? The sky above you, the ground you walk on, everything that you were taught in school, what you've been told. I need you to set that aside, okay? And give this an honest chance. Don't just run away. Don't get angry. Nobody's saying that you have to just accept it, okay? You can do whatever you want once you get this information. But I'm asking you to give this a chance because I personally think that it's the truth. And I think they've lied to us about a whole lot. So if you would, put aside what you think you know and everything you think you believe. If you truly, honestly care about the truth, if you're here for that, then I'm asking you to trust what I'm saying. Just hear me out and go from there and do your own research into it, okay? Now let's get into it and talk about it. So how I want to begin this, I think this is the best place to start. I'm going to try to keep everything simple. I'm not going to show you a whole lot. I'm just going to show you some videos and stuff that I think would kind of help you grasp where I'm coming from with this. But I just want to take you on one more trip down memory lane here. It won't take me but just a second, okay? So just bear with me. So about 5, maybe 6 years ago, my husband was driving a truck at the time. And he would haul stuff all over the United States to different places. And sometimes I would get to go with him on the road. We did the majority of our driving we tried to do at night because traffic and everything's not as bad. So on this one night in particular, I was just kicked back in my seat, you know, staring out the window, looking at the stars, the moon, you know, the whole 9 yards. And all of a sudden, I see this star unlike any star I'd ever seen before in my life. It looked like no star I'd ever seen before. It was beautiful. It was gigantic. It was flashing all different colors. I got my phone out. I started recording it, and I have all this different footage I'm going to tell you about, but it's on my old cell phones. I've got several different phones I've had for years, and I've just held on to them. And so I've got to get all the footage off of it, and I'm going to put it all in a video and upload it eventually. However, even my husband, when he saw it, I was like, am I crazy? Am I really seeing what I think I see? And he said, no, it's there, but it is different. It does look different than they normally do. So the first thing that went through my mind was, am I crazy? The second thing that went through my mind was, I remembered how in the Bible it says, it talks about the sun, there shall be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And so that really got me to thinking. That is what got me on my journey into my Bible and my scriptures and actually taking it seriously, reading the Word, trying to process what each scripture says, reading everything in its proper context, the whole 9 yards. And God let me know that I was not crazy. I prayed from that moment for God to open my eyes and let me see the truth, that I did not want to be deceived anymore about anything. And I'm going to tell you what, you got to be careful what you pray for, because that's exactly what I've gotten. From that point on, it's been a hell of a ride. Okay, so I want to show you what this star looked like. All right, there's a channel on YouTube I've been following for a while since I started this research and everything. Now, let me just say this. At the time that I actually saw this star, I literally, for like a year and a half after that, all I wanted to do with my free time was like film the stars, the moon, the sun, like the night sky, the day sky, and I was seeing all kinds of things I'd never seen before. I'm not saying that they weren't there before. I had just never paid attention. That's an issue, okay? We don't pay attention to the world around us anymore. These elite freaks have detached us so far from reality, from nature, the world around us, our reality, that we don't pay any attention to anything, okay? And so there's a reason for that. They have provided us with all this entertainment, social media, TikTok, all this crap to soak up our time so that we're not focused on what's happening in the world, so that we don't care anymore what's happened to the world. They've literally broke us down. And a lot of the youth has a nihilistic personality now. They have this this attitude like everything's about me, me, me. What can I get? Gimme, gimme, gimme. It's all materialistic. Everybody owes them something. They're not accountable for anything. They get online. They'll say the most hateful and hurtful and inappropriate things. They're over-sexualized. Just the whole 9 yards. They've been completely perverted, deranged, like it's bad. And I know y'all see it. I know it's not just me. My point is, we have to pay attention to the world around us, okay? We've got to start paying attention. So, I want to show you a video that is closest to what I saw that night, okay? Now, let's take a look at it. Here we go. This is what I saw that night. Is that not so beautiful? Now, he's got this slowed down a little bit, but when it's sped all the way up, like when it's just doing its natural thing, it's like really fast. And you can tell it's flashing colors. Let's see, I don't know if he ever speeds it up or not, but let's see if I can speed it up a little bit. Maybe he will. No, it looks like he slowed it down even more. Anyways, I'll just leave it like that because I don't want to block it from y'all being able to see. But is that not beautiful? It looks like it's in water. doesn't it? It looks like it's under like a pool of water. It's so pretty. Now, that's not the only one I want to show you, because I've got several up here, because, I mean, after that, I was taking all kinds of videos. Let's see here. Let's go right here. Check this out. That's what a lot of them look like. But they all look different. Now, yeah, all these look different, but there's other ones that look different than these. They all look like they're in water. Every single one of them looks like it's floating in water. But like some of them are more like what's the word I'm looking for? Pronounced on the edges, or the edges are more solid, like it's more rounded, like a circle. It's more solid around the edges than all jagged and stuff like that. But this is filmed with a Nikon P900 zoom camera. You can do this with your cell phone, because that's what I did. I did it with, I think I had an iPhone 5 at the time. But there's one. I mean, they're just so pretty. But yes, they look like they're in water. Now, for those of you who are Christians or know your Bible, don't forget that God said that He created the sun, the moon, and the stars, right? And He also created a firmament. And it says that God created the firmament to divide the waters above from the waters below. And check this out. So God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. Let them be for signs, season, days, and years. They divide the day from the night. Those lights are the sun, the moon, and the stars. That's what He placed in the firmament. See right here? Lights in the firmament. And it says, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light on the earth. And it was so. And He made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, the moon. He made the stars also, right here. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Now, right down here, right here, is where you can see if I can get it. Okay, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So, in other words, there are waters right here. The firmament divided the waters under the firmament from the waters that were above the firmament. And God called the firmament heaven. So here's the thing, right? If He set the sun, the moon, and the stars in the firmament, so then it would make sense that they look like they're in water. At least it does to me. Now, you might see it a little different. I don't know, but I'm just saying. He set the sun, the moon, the stars in the firmament. Okay. And it looks like in the firmament, you know, the water's above, the water's below. Okay, we just went over that. Is that not beautiful, though? I just thought that was amazing. But anyways, so I showed you that, and let's see here. Oh, that's the same one. Okay, now, here's the thing. Okay, let's talk about planets for a second. Okay, because there's a big problem with the planets that NASA and our school teachers and these scientists have been trying to convince us that we can hop in rocket ships and rovers and we can fly up there and walk around on them. Well, let's take a look at what these planets look like. But before we do, I just want to say one thing. The word planets, okay, in the Strong's Concordance, okay, planets was a Greek word, all right? It means, it's 4107, planetas. It's a Greek word meaning planetas, okay? This is the thing. Planets are wandering stars, okay? It means a wanderer, all right? They're not They're not like, they're all stars. It's all the same thing. But the difference between stars and wandering stars, the Bible makes clear, is that basically stars have a fixed path. In other words, they go along the same path all the time. Regular stars, which would be the first ones I was showing you a minute ago, like this here. Okay? But then when you're talking about planets, all right, we're going to get to that. Planets are different. Planets are wandering stars, and wandering stars are not on a fixed path. They go in different directions. Different directions than the regular stars do. Okay, but they're all stars. That's what we have to understand. They're lights. They are lights. That's what the Bible said, remember? Lights, sun, and moon. Lights, sun, moon. Stars, sun, moon. The stars, the sun, and the moon are the lights that God created. So, let's take a look at what Venus looks like. Let's see if I can find it. Alright guys, I'm sorry about that. I had to try to find that video, but here it is. So this right here is Venus. This is what Venus really looks like. If you get your cell phone out, or you get a telescope, or a zoom camera like a Nikon P900 or something like that, that is what Venus really looks like. But hold on, because this guy right here is going to show you what some of the planets look like in comparison to what NASA tells us they look like. Let's see, here's another one right here coming up. This is Vega coming up. Right here. This is Vega. See, it's a light. They're lights. Doesn't look very solid to me. Now, here's Mars. Does that look anything like what they say it does? Not to me. But let's look at the comparison, okay? Let's get down here, and I want you to see, here's Neptune. Neptune definitely doesn't look like it to me. It's just a light. It's a flashing, like, ball of plasma energy or something. But it definitely doesn't look solid. Now, let's get here. Check this out. This is what Saturn looks like through a telescope. And that's what they say it looks like. Uranus through a telescope. The one they say it looks like. Mars, the real one. Now look at the difference. That looks nothing like that to me. Well, it flipped to the wrong part. Does that look anything like what they say it does? Not to me. Doesn't look like you can walk around on that or land on it and drive golf carts and dune buggies around on it. They haven't been honest. These photos that they give us are CGI. There's your Venus. It's just light. And that's what they say Venus looks like. That's CGI footage. These are not real images. Or, excuse me, they're not real photographs. They're not real. They're CGI. And NASA admits it, okay? I've actually got footage of the guy who works for NASA that creates these images. So, but that'll come a little bit later. I just wanted you to be able to see these things with your own eyes so you know what I'm talking about here. All right? There's an issue here. We got a big issue here. Okay? So, let's see. I think that's all in this one. Oh, yeah, and then we saw Neptune, but that looks nothing like that. This looks nothing like this CGI ball image that they created. Looks nothing like it. Looks nothing like it. Saturn Maybe you could say it maybe looks a little better, but it still just looks like lights to me. It doesn't look like terra firma that you can wander around on. Now that's my opinion based on if you go in and you start comparing what these planets look like. And I'll tell you something else you can do if you decide you want to do a little investigation, which I truly hope that you will take this seriously and investigate. Do a comparison between the Earth that NASA says the Earth looks like compared to the other space agencies overseas, because the images look completely different. They don't look like the same planet. And I'll tell you something else. There's only two images of our Earth. There's the first one from the Apollo mission, and it wasn't until I think 42 years later in 2002 or 2012 that they gave us another image of the planet that they called the blue marble, which is the one that they put on the iPhone. Now, why would they do that? That's called propaganda. Because around that time, the whole idea of the Earth not being a globe was exploding everywhere, because there's historical documentation where scientists back in the early 1900s, y'all, they buried the history. From back in the early 1900s, they were doing experiments and trying to prove to the scientific community, and they did in some of these cases. Some of the things that they were experimenting, like water and stuff like that, they proved it. But the scientific community came out with their Freemasonry authority like they do and shut them down, because that's what they do. They make people like you and me and everyday people think that those who think outside the box are crazy, tinfoil hat wearing, nutty conspiracy theorists, and then the whole world just blows you off and they won't listen to anything you say. That's how we got to the point where we are now, and we have to stop. Now, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, that's, did I actually have that up? I sure did. I'm such a dummy, y'all. I'm so sorry. I just wasted your time. Anyways, okay, here we go. Now, this right here is a big deal to me. Because when I saw this, and I took this footage years ago, back when my husband was on the road and everything, I tried to tell people. I tried to point this stuff out, and people thought I was crazy for this. Do you know that NASA, or I should say, even from the time that we were children, we were taught about our sun, our moon, our stars, space, and all this stuff, right? But most people today, like just your average person, has no idea how far away the sun is, how big the earth is, how far the moon is, how big the moon is. They don't know anything about space and the planets. They don't know anything about it, okay? That's a big problem. That is one way that they're able to get away with this crap. Now check this out. They tell us, all right, we've been taught that the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. I want you to let that sink in for just a second. 93 million miles away. Now, let's take a look at this. Pay attention. Look at both of the filters. He'll stop moving so much in just a second. I promise. There's clouds in front of and behind the sun. The sun is sitting in our clouds. Look at the way it is moving through our clouds, y'all. It's not 93 million miles away, and it's not as big as they've told us it is. But they know all this. I promise you, They know it. And I'm going to try to remember. I want to show you an image. I just now thought about it. But I'm going to try to remember to show you this image here in just a minute, okay? That blew my mind when I saw it. But anyways, look at that. That's amazing. Remember, the scripture says that God set the sun, the moon, and the stars inside the firmament. Not 93 million miles away in an empty vacuum of space. Okay? We have to stop letting them lie to us about everything, because they don't want any of us to believe in God. They want us to worship their science, their pseudo-science. It's not even real science anymore, y'all. It's pseudo-science. It's a lies. That's what it is. Lies. Now, let's take a look at the next one. This absolutely blew my mind when I saw it. And when I saw this, there was no denying for me. This was one of the things that sealed the deal for me, that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the sun is not 93 million miles away, and it's not as big as they're telling us. It's in our clouds. It's just above us. It's not as far as we think it is, or as far as they've told us. Check this out. This is a pilot in an airplane, maybe a helicopter, but I think it's an airplane. But look at this. You see that? The sun is under the clouds over here. Hold on. Might be over there. I might have had it in the wrong spot. Sorry. Come on. There it is. Look at that. It's not 93 million miles away, y'all. It's right there. Let it sink in. There's no denying it. It's the truth. I know it's probably hard for you to envision what that would be like, because your whole life, think about it, from the time that you're a small child, what is one of the first things that they tell you? They show you a plastic ball with continents and stuff on it, and they tell you this is where you live. That's what they tell you. Now, this right here, okay, if you, this right here, I want you to look at the sun, okay, and as it's setting, and I'm putting air quotes around that, as it's setting, okay, I want you to look at it not as if it's moving downward, but look at it as if it's moving away from you, okay? Now watch. It's moving away from you. It's not going down. It's moving away so far that you can't see it anymore. And it disappears over the horizon. Now this, let me make sure I don't have this. Okay, I don't. I was trying to make sure I didn't have it sped up. Now this right here basically is, imagine the sun is coming towards you. I know it looks like it's moving upwards, but I'm saying just look at it as if it's moving towards you. It's just so far in the distance that your eyes can't see it anymore, and it disappears. It's moving towards you. When it's going up, it's getting closer to you. And when it looks like it's going down, it's moving further away. Again, I know a lot of this, but look at that. That's in our clouds. That's not out in the vacuum of space, whatever the vacuum of space is. But that's what they want you to believe. Remember, look at it as if it's moving towards you, not downward. That's the best way to look at it. Now, I don't have the answers for everything, obviously. I'm just giving you some perspective points here, okay? Some of some of the footage that people have got is just, it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's just going to try to let this play for just another minute. Hey, you know what? Actually, let me go back right here. I told you I was going to show you a picture. Let me pause that right there. I want you to imagine something. Those of you that know anything about Freemasonry, I want you to imagine, okay, the sun's right here, obviously. Imagine there's a triangle right here below the sun. Look at the rays. The rays form the triangle. Okay? And they try to tell us that the sun's rays are parallel. They're not. They're divergent, meaning that they go out like this. They're going away from each other in different directions like this, coming out like that. They're not straight down. Now imagine that triangle with the all-seeing eye at the top. They know. They know. I just did a little bit of research, actually earlier today, about Darwin's theory of evolution. And, or like, you know, yeah, the evolution, and how Darwin was basically tied to a man named Thomas Henry Huxley, was like his right-hand man. Well, Thomas Henry Huxley was the grandfather of Aldous and Julian Huxley. Aldous Huxley is the one who wrote Brave New World. Now, there's speculation that Brave New World was the plan, okay? The plan for the New World Order. Now, Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley's brother, he was into eugenics. He wrote a book in 1933 called The Vital Importance of Eugenics. In 1945, Julian Huxley became the first Director General of UNESCO, part of the United Nations. He published a book himself right after he became first Director General of UNESCO called UNESCO, Its Purpose and Philosophy. Julian Huxley is also the one who coined the term transhumanism. I'm going to tell you something interesting. Darwin, Thomas Henry Huxley, and Julian and the rest of them were all part of a group called the Royal Society. The Royal Society was founded by Freemasons in 1660. Darwin and the Huxleys were all Freemasons. They basically created the Royal Society for, like, the elite of the Freemasons, sort of. And what they wanted to do was, at that point in time, okay, for years in the past, science and theology, okay, science and creation, God, science and God were always interconnected. Everybody knew that. That's what everybody believed. Until Freemasonry began and they started changing everything. And then they wanted to start taking everything over, and they started creating all these different groups, like the Club of Rome and the Council on Foreign Relations and all these different things. It all goes back to Freemasonry. That is the roots. That is where it all begins. Now, this is my opinion based on historical documentation. That is what it shows. Freemasonry is in all of this. Isaac Newton was a Freemason. Benjamin Franklin was a Freemason. Copernicus, Kepler, all of them, all the ones who had something to do with this whole globe Earth idea were all part of Freemasonry. And so basically what the Royal Society wanted to do was they wanted God out of science. That's what they wanted to do. And, you know, anyways, I don't want to get too lost on that, get you too lost on that part of it, but I just thought I'd throw that in there because of this right here. They claim that, you know, the rays are coming in parallel, but that we just don't see them that way. No, the rays are coming in divergent because that's reality. See, what they do is they try to flip everything and twist everything around and confuse you and make things so difficult that you can't understand it, like you can't wrap your head around it. And when you really go in and start studying the heliocentric model, okay, the heliocentric model is the model that we were all taught in school, that there's all these planets that you can walk around on if you can get to them. There's stars. We're on a spinning ball with water stuck to it, flying through an empty vacuum of space, that we're insignificant. We came from pond scum to monkeys to humans. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyways, that's the heliocentric model, okay? And that's what they want you to believe. All right? They don't want you to trust your senses. They don't want you to trust your own eyeballs. None of that. They've totally flipped everything around. And the heliocentric model literally takes mental gymnastics to understand. If you're not like an astrophysicist or this or that or the other, or, you know, extremely smart, a lot of it is hard to put together. All right? So anyways, but I thought I would point that out to you. Freemasonry. They know. They know because they did it. They're the ones who have created this whole model that we've all been stuck in from the time we were children. All right, so let's get on to this next one. This also blew my mind. Check this out, y'all. Are you ready? You gotta watch. Here we go. Remember, 93 million miles away. Look at this. 93 million miles away is what they tell us. Is that not amazing? Now you tell me that's 93 million miles away. I don't think so. It's just not. It's just not. Okay, now let's take a look at the moon, because it's the same thing with the moon. It's not just the sun. Mute that. Look at that. It's the same thing. None of it fits with what they've taught us. The moon's a lot smaller, and they tell us that the sun is 238,000 miles away. That's what they tell us, and I'll show you that in just a second. Yep, but they say it's 238,000 miles away. It's definitely not 238,000 miles away. Let's see here, right here, 238,900 miles away. But like I said, it's the same thing with the moon. They want you to believe that it's 240,000 miles away and that they can fly up there and land on it. Why do you think they haven't been back in almost 50 years? Because they never went in the first place. That's why. In fact, the first man on the moon, Buzz Aldrin, well, or was it Neil Armstrong? Buzz Aldrin, either way, he was one of the first 2 men on the moon. He admitted it in a video talking to a little 8-year-old girl, and I've got the clip of that. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I can pull it up. My point is, these things are not as far as they tell us. Here's the moon again. Look at that. I've got it sped up a little bit. Is that not amazing? Could you imagine standing there watching the moon come up like that? That's crazy. But it's not 238,000 miles away, I can assure you of that. It's not. It's beautiful. And it was created for us. You may not believe that, and that's okay. That's your choice. But even if you don't believe in a creator, that doesn't mean you can't believe that they've lied to us, because they've lied to us. Now, I want you to get a picture of how they tell us that the heliocentric model works. I want you to see it because a lot of people don't know. I didn't even realize this until I got into researching this stuff. That's a big problem. They count on you not knowing. All right? They count on you to never pay attention to your surroundings ever again. Do you know why? Because if you think that these people have it all figured out, they've already got all the answers. They already know what's out there. They don't need to question anything anymore, so you don't need to question anything anymore. They already have it all figured out for you. And then guess what? When you start looking at these things and then you start looking at your Bible and you realize it doesn't fit, not with what the scriptures say, you're going to start doubting. My point is, it's all been intentional, y'all. This is what they say is going on with the Earth through space. Now think about that. You may not know this, but I'm going to give you some information here. First of all, we're supposedly spinning in a circle, 1,000 miles an hour, over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Okay, we're supposed to be spinning like this. We're tilted on an axis, so we're wobbling around like this. Okay, we're like wobbling all over the place around the sun. Notice how the sun is supposedly the center of our galaxy. So the sun is the center, and we are moving, everything is moving around the sun. It revolves around the sun. Now, why would they want you to have that mentality? I seem to recall back in history, we were taught, if it's even true, how they used to worship the sun. Are we supposed to worship the sun? No, but these people want you to. These people want you to worship anything but God. These people want you to think you came from anything but God. So we're supposedly doing this, flying around the sun, then all that's corkscrewing through space. All the other planets are flying. We're flying through. You can't even imagine the speeds. Just pay attention to what this says. Sorry, I got to speed this up just a little bit. It's a bit much. The Earth is orbiting around the sun at 66,666 miles per hour. Interesting numbers, isn't it? According to the heliocentric model, the sun is orbiting around the galactic core at 420,000 miles per hour. According to the heliocentric model, Our galaxy itself is moving through the universe at 2.2 million miles per hour. Remember, we're corkscrewing through all that, and then the entire galaxy is moving as well. According to the heliocentric model, we're hurling through space at 2.7 million miles per hour in 5 different directions, but we can't feel anything. Make that make sense. What do your senses tell you? Do your senses tell you you're moving? Or does your senses tell you the sun, the moon, and the stars are moving around above you and they're closer than what you've been told? Think about it. Think about this as well. The stars are always circling around above us in circles. If you look at time-lapse footage, they're circling. They're circles, perfect circles around above us. Now, how is that possible if we're hurling through space in 5 different directions, but they make perfect circles? Don't you think the star trails would be all over the place? It would look like you just took a pen and just started scribbling all over a piece of paper. It wouldn't be perfect circles. Here's another thing. The North Star, also called Polaris, is always in the center. It never moves. The stars never go anywhere else. They're always in the same place. Now, how is that possible if this is true? Now, here's another thing for you. For those of you who understand Freemasonry and know about the Georgia Guidestones. In the Georgia Guidestones, there's a hole through the center stone. And when you look through that hole, it is centered perfectly on the North Star, Polaris. It never moves. It's always there. And we know, beyond a shadow of a doubt through research, that the Georgia Guidestones are Freemasonry. 100%. If you actually do the research on it, it's not that hard to figure out. So, my point is, nothing they've told us is the truth. Also, does that look straight to you right there? Or does that look round? Because it looks awfully straight to me. Think about it. The horizon is horizontal. Horizon. Here's something else to think about. Water always finds its level. If you look at a standing body of water, okay, whether it's a sink full of water, a bathtub full of water, a swimming pool full of water, a pond, a lake, or the ocean, on a calm day, okay, when there's not gigantic waves and wind blowing it all over the place, when it's calm, it's flat on top, it's straight on top, it's level on the surface. I'm not talking about what's underneath, I'm talking about on the surface of it. Now, if that's true, they tell us that the Earth is 71% water. So how in the hell can it be a ball? And don't let them fool you with gravity either, because gravity is just a theory. That's why it's called the theory of gravity. So don't let them fool you with that. That is part of their deception. They needed gravity. Gravity is their God in the heliocentric religion. The heliocentric model that we've all been taught requires faith and belief. It's a religion. It's pseudoscience. Gravity is their God. They needed gravity in order to explain how people in Australia are walking around upside down on a spinning ball flying through the vacuum of space without flying off, along with all the buildings and everything else. So they made it up. My point is that it's time that we start looking into these things, that we start taking this serious. Don't just blow people off when they mention flat Earth. I'm not telling you that I believe the Earth is flat. I'm telling you that I believe the Earth is a stationary, meaning it's not spinning, it's sitting still. I believe that it's a plane, and I believe that it's level. Remember, Water must be contained. Liquids must be contained. They have to have a container. Something has to be holding them in. And water does not conform to the exterior of shapes. I don't care if it's a triangle, a square, a ball, a stick. It doesn't matter what it is, what the shape of it is. Water will not conform to the exterior of a shape. It just won't do it. You can't. You can't. Just cannot do it. Now, there's a lot of things. I'm just going to let this play while I close out here. I know that it's a lot to take in. I did not show you much, okay? The stars, the sun, the moon, all that stuff does not prove the shape of the earth, okay? That does not necessarily have anything to do with the shape of the earth. However, if none of that is true, what else is a lie? That's the point I'm trying to make here. Okay, our entire model, the heliocentric model, is a lie. Pay attention to this footage. Look at this. It's straight. It's always straight. Always. No matter how high you go. Don't be fooled by the different lenses that they use when they take photos and when they take videos. Pay attention. The majority of it is CGI. They use different lenses, okay? They have some lenses that are called fisheye lenses or wide-angle lenses, and what they do is they curve the image. They curve what you're seeing. It's because the lens itself has it has a concave lens on it. It's either concave or convex, I can't remember, but it will literally bend the horizon and other things around it in the image to make it look as if it's round. This is the type of deception that they use. So don't be fooled by those things. But anyways, so now we're down to the very end of it. Hang on one second. My cat's driving me nuts. So I know that you probably have a lot of questions. You're probably like, she's done fell off her rocker. I promise you, I haven't. I haven't fell off my rocker, I promise. This is something that I never thought about, y'all. Look at that. This is something that I never thought about. I never considered it. I never stopped to think about the world around me. I never looked for myself. I never thought about it. But the moment that I did, it didn't take me long to figure it out without YouTube videos and reading up on stuff. I know what water does. I know what level is. I know what it feels like when I'm moving and when I'm spinning. It's not that hard, in my opinion, to tell that the stars, the sun, and the moon are moving, not me. There's so many different things. Okay, there is no scientific proof of curvature. There is none. They'll claim that there is by using, fudged up math and everything else. They use math to fit anything that they want and claim it's real, and people believe it. There is no scientific evidence of gravity. They cannot prove it. Even the top scientists and physicists like Neil deGrasse Tyson will admit he has no idea what gravity is. He can't tell you what it is. It's an unseen force. It's their God. They need gravity to explain what they can't prove. How in the world, here's another thing, how in the world do you have an atmosphere that has pressure to it? We have a pressurized atmosphere up next to the vacuum of space without it being contained. It has to have a container, which in my personal belief, now asking you to accept this. I want you to do your own research into it and come to your own conclusions. But I believe there's a firmament above us. I believe there is a solid barrier which is containing our atmosphere. That's what I believe. Okay? But my point is that I don't have any way to prove that. Now, there is footage out there that really suggests that there's something up there. They were shooting nukes up there to try and blow something up back in the 1950s, right around the same time that NASA was created. That is a video for a different day. That is going in a whole lot deeper than what I have tonight. I'm sorry, my cat's meowing. If you can hear that, she's driving me insane. There's absolutely no proof of axial rotation or tilt to the Earth. There is none. Okay? There's a lot of things that they can't prove, yet they continue to try to convince us that this stuff is real, and it isn't. And think about the indoctrination that we went through. Now we've sent our kids into the lion's den. I feel so guilty about that. You know what I'm saying? If I knew then what I know now, I would have never sent my kids to school. We teach them that God created everything, that He's real, and then we turn around and we send them to an institution that teaches them the Big Bang Theory and evolution, and teaches them crap like the heliocentric model and everything else. It's sad. I wish I would have never done it, but I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. If I would have done things a whole lot different. Anyways, my point is, please look into this for yourself. I'm going to do some more videos on it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope I showed you something interesting. I hope I got you to be curious about this and give it a chance. Think about what this means. If more people come into this, more people start to realize these things, they'll start asking questions about these institutions. Think about it. The education system, NASA, the governments are all involved in it. They're all lying to us. They know about it. Wait until I do the video on the history of this. Wait until you find out about the explorers and everything back in the 1950s that went to places around the world to try to find out what was out there. They found more land. They found all kinds of stuff, y'all, that they've lied to us about. My point is that these institutions, these people who have been complicit in this whole thing, think about it. The people who have oppressed us for years upon years upon years. Think about everything they're doing to us now. Think about how they're lying to us now. If they're willing to lie to you about COVID and all that and put you out in the streets, if they're willing to do all that, what else will they lie to you about? So please, just give this a chance. Look into it for yourself. I appreciate you staying with me. I hope my cat has not drove you insane because she's about to make me lose my mind if she doesn't quit her meowing. I love y'all and I'm praying for y'all, and we will talk again soon. Bye.